In the spring of 2018, in a cavernous store in Wayne, New Jersey, the shelves were nearly empty. Yellow clearance signs hung over the aisles. A cardboard giraffe stood by the door, still smiling, watching a checkout line that was mostly parents, buying one last thing so their kids could say goodbye. This was Toys R Us. And it was not dying because children had stopped wanting toys. At its peak, Toys R Us was the biggest toy store on Earth. It sold 18,000 different toys. It ran more than 1,400 stores across dozens of countries. 1 out of every 4 toys sold anywhere in the world was rung up under that backwards letter R. If you are an American man over 45, there is a good chance you were a Toys R Us kid once, and then, years later, you walked your own children back through those same doors. Here is what almost nobody understands about how it ended. Toys R Us was not killed by Amazon. It was not killed by Walmart. Those are the easy answers, and the numbers do not back them up. Right to the end, the stores were busy. People were still shopping. The company was still selling billions of dollars of toys every year. What actually killed Toys R Us was a single financial deal, a deal that had nothing to do with toys at all. Stay with me, because once you see how this was done, you will start to see it everywhere. And hold on to one number as we go. $400 million. Remember it, because that number, more than any website and more than any rival, is what actually turned out the lights. The story starts with a man named Charles Lazarus. In 1948, he was a young veteran back from the war, working out of his father's bicycle shop in Washington. America was about to have more babies than at any time in its history, and Lazarus had an idea. He opened a store that sold baby furniture, cribs, high chairs, playpens, but he noticed something. A family buys one crib, then they come back and they want a toy. Then the toy breaks, or the child outgrows it and they come back again. Toys, he realized, never stopped selling. So in 1957, he built something brand new in Rockville, Maryland, a giant store stacked to the ceiling that sold nothing but toys. He put a backwards letter R in the name, like a child had scrawled it, and he gave it a mascot, a tall, gentle giraffe named Jeffrey. Lazarus ran the whole company on one simple rule: keep the shelves full, keep the prices low, and the children will come. Keep the children coming. That was the machine, and for 40 years, it worked better than anyone had dreamed. By the 1980s and 1990s, Toys R Us was a colossus. It was where Christmas happened. Parents lined up before dawn. The company could make a toy maker rich or put it out of business just by deciding whether to stock the shelf. It was so dominant that it even helped teach a young company called Amazon how to sell toys online. But at the very top, the company was about to change hands, and the people about to take it over did not care about keeping the children coming. They cared about a completely different number. In 2005, 3 Wall Street firms, the private equity houses KKR and Bain Capital, together with a property company called Vornado, bought Toys R Us. The price was $6.6 billion. But here is the trick, and the trick is the whole story. They did not pay for it with their own money. They put in only about $1.6 billion of their own. The rest, more than $5 billion, was borrowed. And then, in the strangest move of all, that debt was placed not on the buyers, but on Toys R Us itself. The company had been bought using its own future as the collateral. Overnight, a store that owed almost nothing was buried under $5 billion of debt it had never asked for. The rule was no longer keep the children coming. The rule was now make the payment. So remember that number, $400 million. That is roughly what Toys R Us had to hand over every single year just in interest, just to carry a debt that existed only because the company had been sold. $400 million a year that could not go to fixing tired stores, could not go to a better website, could not go to lower prices or to a single Christmas bonus. It went to Wall Street. So when Amazon rose and Walmart cut its prices, Toys R Us, a company that was still making money selling toys, had nothing left to fight with. It had been selling toys to pay a mortgage on itself. In September of 2017, it filed for bankruptcy. For a moment, there was hope it could be saved. It wasn't. In 2018, the company announced it would close its doors for good, around 735 American stores, and 33,000 people out of work. And the firms that had loaded on the debt? They had already pulled hundreds of millions of dollars out in fees along the way. There is one last thing, and it is the part that stays with me. Charles Lazarus, the man who started it all in that bicycle shop, who drew the backwards letter R and named the giraffe, was still alive to watch it happen. He was 94 years old, and 1 week after Toys R Us announced it was closing every last store, Charles Lazarus died. The man and the store he built went out almost together. We like to tell ourselves that these places die because the world moved on. Toys R Us didn't. The children never left. The toys never stopped selling. It was taken apart on purpose, by people who made more money breaking it than they could ever have made by keeping it alive. It did not run out of customers. It ran out of a future it was allowed to keep. If you were a Toys R Us kid, if you still remember that jingle, or you waited in that line with your own children, tell me about it in the comments. I read them. And if you want more stories like this one, the ones where the real killer is never who you were told it was, subscribe and stay with me. There are a lot more giants out there and a lot more empty parking lots with a story just like this.